To take a closer look at the legacy she left behind, we're joined by Lincoln Mitchell, a professor at the School of International and Public Affairs at Columbia University. Mr. Mitchell is also a native San Franciscan who has written extensively about the city, including a forthcoming biography of George Moscone. Lincoln also wrote the popular Substack, Kibitzing with Lincoln. Thank you so much for joining us today. So as we revisit Dianne Feinstein's historic career, many may not know the significant impact in San Francisco politics in the 70s. So can you tell us about her influence at the time?
Yes, and thank you for having me. A lot of people may know the story of how she became mayor because it was so dramatic. George Moscone, the mayor, and Harvey Milk, the member of the Board of Supervisors, were assassinated on November 27th, 1978, and Feinstein, as president of the Board of Supervisors, became mayor and then got elected to 2 full terms. But her impact was extraordinary on that city. 1970 San Francisco was deeply divided. It was in the 50s, 60s, 40s, a pro-labor but socially conservative city. We all know the social changes that began to change that city, the anti-war movement, the LGBT civil rights movement, which was really focused on San Francisco. And the city was deeply divided, and that was one of the reasons Moscone was assassinated. And what Dianne Feinstein did was she brought together a hybrid model of governance where she took a kind of pro-business, pro-real estate, pro-downtown approach to city economic issues and married it to social liberalism. And that got San Francisco through the 80s. And she had many critics. Many on the left felt that she was not as progressive as George Moscone would have been, which is in fact true. And many on the right didn't like that suddenly, there was no more anti-gay prejudice in city government. Moscone brought the gay folks in, the black folks in, and Feinstein kept them there. So that hybrid model of San Francisco governance, that's the San Francisco of today. And in fact, that model is what we see in a lot of cities in America. And Feinstein, that part of her legacy is overlooked because of how long she was in the Senate and because, we think of San Francisco today, it's tech and it's driverless cars, but the politics and governance there are really Dianne Feinstein's imprint.
That's such a great explanation of her legacy. Thank you for that. I think that really puts, it kind of lets you know that it was more than just Senator Feinstein. She became a political rock star because of her time as mayor of San Francisco. That's what allowed her then to climb the ladder up to the U.S. Senate. So thanks for contextualizing all that. That's important. Obviously, she's been in the headlines for months now because of health-related issues, and that's why. And she's one part of the national discussion we're having right now about the age of people in politics, whether it's Trump or Biden, McConnell, Feinstein, Ginsburg, who died on the bench, and it's a worthy discussion. Do you worry at all that the health issues and that her role in that larger debate kind of overshadows a really historic political career? First female mayor of San Francisco, first female senator from San Francisco, longest female from California, and the longest serving female senator in American history. That's a hell of a resume. Do you think the health issues overshadow any of that?
Of course it does. And this is not how Dianne Feinstein should or wanted to be remembered. And when we think of her last months and last year or so in the Senate, where we saw that she was just, frankly, losing some of her mental faculties. And that was tragic. And again, Feinstein, I understand, not everyone has to like her, right? But let's recognize her for who she was. When Feinstein ran for the Board of Supervisors in 1969, served on that board through 1978 when she became mayor, and as mayor, her reputation, which is what you had to do if you were a woman in politics at that time, she was always the best prepared person in the room. She always did her homework. She was a policy wonk as mayor before we even knew that term. And the legacy of her getting old and us seeing another side of her is very sad. That is not what Feinstein would have wanted. And in retrospect, we have to ask whether she probably shouldn't have run for that last term in 2018. She would have been remembered very differently. But as we know, by all of those politicians you named off, it's very hard to walk away from politics. Nancy Pelosi, who was, a few years younger, but they worked very closely for a long time, has announced that she's running again in 2024, which surprised a lot of people out there. She'll be 84 by the time of that election.
I want to go back to what you said about how she was one of the most prepared people there, because on the day that she passed away, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer did say, we're calling it a conversation they had a long time ago about a certain bill or law, and he said that she had told him, hey, I need to think about this, I need to read more, I need to get more information before I vote on this, and that's kind of who she was, and it was never an emotional thing for her. It was always she wanted to educate herself first and then make decisions, which nowadays, I mean, there's a lot of emotion in politics, it seems, right? And people think things are very personal. But when it comes to what she has done for women and the political achievements when it comes to that, I mean, women, she look up to her, you know, then and they do now. What do you hope that she is remembered for, if there is one thing that you can think of in about 30 seconds?
I think one thing that we should think of with Dianne Feinstein is that she was told so many times you can't do this, and she kept doing it. And look, I'm a white guy. I'm a middle-aged white guy at a fancy university, so I don't want to, you know, I mean, I'm in an awkward position here, but that is a lesson for all of us, but particularly for women who are being told, you know, you can't become a this, you can't major in that, you can't study this, you can't become a mayor, you can't become a senator, you can't run for the Board of Supervisors. Dianne Feinstein heard that her whole life, and she did it anyway, and she accomplished an extraordinary amount. And I think that's one way to remember her.
Mm-hmm. And no matter what the first is, you know, first black, first gay, first woman, being the first anything is never easy. And she was the first lots of things in her career. And it is remarkable. And of course, that memorial happening today. Professor of the School of International Public Affairs at Columbia University, Lincoln Mitchell, thank you so much for your time and your insight into a really extraordinary political figure. Appreciate it, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.